I'll be quite honest. After the caffeinated spastic plastic Barbie and Ken just spoke about who knows what, it's like my grandson had it on fast forward and it was going. So my brain is trying to calm down. I wish it was the 70s and I was sitting around a bonfire with something else on fire.
Good morning. My name is Jessica Saxton. I'm a civil rights advocate and litigator from Washington, D.C. I'm here to provide public notice. This is in accordance with USCS Rules of Civil Procedure, as well as Rule 17 and Rule 20 of the United States Supreme Court. The Constitution for the United States is the overarching requirement that every state must follow. I don't think anyone here would disagree with that. States are not able to enact their own alternative legislation and substitute that for the guarantees of the Constitution. That would mean that your state laws are more powerful than the Constitution, and that is unlawful. Clause 1 of Amendment 5 says that no person should be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on presentment or indictment by a grand jury. However, the state of Pennsylvania has enacted its own alternative legislation that permits prosecuting attorneys and police officers to charge by way of information as opposed to indictment, and that is simply illegal. An emolument violation is indeed when you pay public officials to commit a crime. There are two areas of the Constitution that reinforces this. The first is Article 1, Section 10, and that's where it says that no state shall create any law that shall impair the obligation of a contract. A contract. So your police officers, your prosecutors, your judges, they are all under a contract to support and defend the Constitution based on the oath that they took. So when a state enacts a law and then directs their agents to disobey that law, the Constitution of the United States, that would be a violation of Article 1, Section 10. The 14th Amendment is the other place that you find the reinforcement of this issue, and that's where it says that no state shall create or enforce any law that shall abridge the privileges or immunities of United States citizens. Privileges and immunities of United States citizens are at a minimum those that are enumerated within the Bill of Rights and the first 10 amendments. The state of Pennsylvania has enacted a law in its inferior constitution that is permitting public officials whom you all pay to violate the supreme law of this land. As a result, there's an inordinate amount of people currently incarcerated here in this state illegally and unconstitutionally because of the agents that are directed and paid by you. Mr. Tanawa Downing is preparing to litigate this issue at the United States Supreme Court on behalf of more than 700,000 people currently in prison unconstitutionally and illegally here in America. I am here to put you on notice and notify you that you cannot continue to pay public officials to commit crimes against the citizens of this state. Criminal sanctions, unfortunately, can come from that. It's not something that we want to go down, but it can happen. Continuing to pay people to commit crimes is an emolument violation. It is illegal and it is unconstitutional. It is a crime. It's simple. It's a crime. So I'm asking you, honorable individuals, to please take a look at what I said. Clause 1 of Amendment 5 to the United States Constitution, confirm what I'm saying to be true, and then go out and direct your public officials to act in a lawful, constitutional manner that is consistent with the obligations that are codified in the Constitution, as well as their oath of office. I do have a notice that I need to put on the record. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Our next registered speaker is Tanawa Downing.
Good morning. My name is Tanawa Downing. I'm the civil rights litigator that Ms. Saxton was just talking about. I need to step up and provide just a little bit of clarification so we can understand what just happened and how do we move forward. So, again, no state can create its own alternative legislation, substitute it for the guarantees of the Constitution, then go out and enforce it as though it's law. That would obviously be a very, very unconstitutional act. State has done just that. When they charge by way of information, when the Constitution requires the indictment, that is an unconstitutional act. So I have approximately 12,000 criminal affidavits on behalf of victims that have had this happen to them right here in the state of Pennsylvania. Many are from within the city here. These affidavits, they identify two different crimes in particular. The first is Title 18, subsection 242, which is deprivation of rights under color of law. What that statute says is that any person who, under the color of any state statute, ordinance, custom, or regulation, deprives any person of any rights secured by the Constitution commits that crime. The second crime is Title 18, subsection 241, which is conspiracy to deprive of rights. What that says is that when two or more persons conspire with the purpose of depriving any person of any rights secured by the Constitution, commits that crime. Now, the laws of criminal conspiracy with regard to public officials, what it states is that any person who, having knowledge of any of the wrongs conspired to be done, and who have the power to prevent or aid in the prevention of the commission of same, neglects or refuses to do so, may be joined to dispense the action. So upon having been provided with this notice, letting you know that your agents that you pay are going out and enforcing an unconstitutional law, I would ask you guys, please, let's work together and fix this problem, because the alternative is that we will have to start converting these criminal affidavits into criminal complaints. I don't want to go down that path. You guys don't want me to go down that path. We have been in touch with the director of the FBI, Kash Patel, and he is, as well as also the ranking member of the Senate Judicial Oversight Committee, Senator Kennedy. They both agree that when agents of the state, be it a judge, a prosecutor, law enforcement, when they fail to fulfill their obligations codified in the Constitution of the United States and breach federal law, they are subject to arrest. We don't want to head down that path. Please don't make me have to do that. So I'm not saying that these are good people. I'm not saying that these are lawful people, but what I am saying is that these are all rightful people who had rights that were constitutionally codified that the state of Pennsylvania is clearly abridged through agents that you guys pay. So I know that you're going to go in your ask your attorney as soon as we're done here, whether or not what I'm saying is true. And that attorney is going to point you to a case from 1884 from the United States Supreme Court called Hurtado versus California. And before you guys choose to rely upon that as the foundation, I must remind you that the Constitution of the United States of America is the foundation, not a judge-made ruling. The Supreme Court in the United States has no constituted authority to be able to alter, amend, or destroy any of the provisions or guarantees of the Constitution. That must be done by an authentic act of the people in accordance with the special amending procedure of Article 5. Any other way would be an unconstitutional amendment to the Constitution. Furthermore, judges have no constituted authority to be able to legislate. We know that because Clause 1, Article 1 says all legislative power is vested in Congress of the United States, consisting of a Senate and House of Representatives. The judicial branch has no constituted authority to legislate, therefore they cannot create an amendment to our foundational law. So I implore every single one of you to please, let's step up, discharge the duties of your office, fulfill the obligations and promises that you made to the people of the state of Pennsylvania. Let's choose to protect, defend, and preserve the Constitution of the United States. Thank you guys so much. God bless.
Thank you.